Also, how are my bangs? Are they PC? Can you tell me whenever they are?
Are they what?
PC. Like space, lots of spaces, like...
They...
Should I comb? Okay.
I don't know.
Cool.
How to answer that.
It looks fine, right?
Looks like how they always look.
Okay. Hi, welcome to the Fangirl Feels podcast, where we talk about all the things that give us all the feels, all the movies, TV shows, books, music, that give us too many feelings. My name's Tanya, and today we have a special guest with us.
Shree. 2-ounce whiskey. What's up?
And what is 2-ounce whiskey?
It's my whiskey channel. Instagram, TikTok, whatever, all of them. You'll find me there. We learn about whiskey and we drink whiskey, and I do funny things and I teach you things too. Follow me.
And
I'm also her brother.
I was gonna say we didn't mention that. How we're related.
I'm the eldest boy! I'm the eldest boy!
Which is true.
I am.
The eldest boy. We do have an older sister. So that's what we're here to talk about, Succession. Well, actually, before that, would we like to talk about what we're drinking today?
Sure. Blanton's. It's a popular whiskey, and I think I saw it in an episode once, so that's why I chose it.
That's a lie. We just Googled what to drink with whiskey. And
Yeah.
what is your friend's
And
channel? Whiskey Advocate.
Yeah, and he thought he saw it in an episode once.
There we go. Okay. So that's why we're drinking it. Shall we taste it?
Sure.
Yeah. Slanch. No. Do you cheers this day?
Yes.
Do you do? Okay.
Usually.
Slancha.
Thoughts?
I love Blanton's. I've always liked it. I've had this one before, I think.
Yeah.
Buffalo Beyond Trace. The bottle, it looks great, but I just like... I'm not a huge Scotch drinker. I know you're a Scotch drinker, so I prefer the whiskeys. This is a whiskey.
It's a bourbon.
And it's a bourbon. My bad. About to offend your
all
followers.
Bourbon is whiskey, not all whiskey is bourbon.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a caramelly taste, but it's not like sweet.
Yeah. So sometimes in my videos, I'll say like classic bourbon flavors, which are like caramel, vanilla, brown sugar, and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. Which from the corn and the barrel, you get a lot of those.
Very cool. Please sponsor us. Thank you. All right. So we're just going to dive straight into it. We're assuming that everyone who clicks into this has already seen Succession or knows what it is. I'm about
to spoil the shit out of it. Let's go.
Yeah. Ahead of this episode, just know that we are going to have spoilers. This isn't a spoiler-free episode. We do have some of those actually on our YouTube channel, but this will have lots of spoilers. So go watch it real quick. Hour and a half later, come back.
We warned you.
So you got me into watching the show in 2018. That's when it first dropped. So to give some backstory, Succession first aired on HBO on June 3rd, 2018, and then the finale was just yesterday, May 2023. And we watched it together. You actually got me to watch it because we watch a lot of prestige TV. Do you know what that means?
I know the podcast, but I don't really know what it means. Right. Also, I don't remember putting you onto the show, but I'll take credit for it. You did. I will take credit for this.
2018. What was I doing? I think I was in between jobs, and you told me about it. But so one thing we talk about on our show is that we watch a lot of content that is feel-good content that makes us feel good when you maybe have had a bad day and you just want to feel better. This is not feel-good content, at least not for me. I feel bad when I watch it. Like, yeah. I feel like gross. Like, these people, and even the actors will say during interviews that these are bad people.
Yeah.
Well, we're rooting for them, but yeah. What do you think?
I agree. It's not a feel good. Ted Lasso is feel good. This, you're in it for the drama.
Yeah, the drama. Speaking of, good segue.
Yeah.
This was a pretty dramatic episode. It was the last one.
Well, it has to be. It's the finale.
Yeah. So, right off the bat, I'm curious, what were your initial reactions?
What an episode. What a banger. I was just so happy that they landed the plane in a Bill Simmons quote. He says it all the time. You land the plane.
I've heard
he landed the plane. Great ending. There's other series that people don't like the endings. Like the classic one is Lost, where people will get mad at the ending and the finale. I'm like, I just want them to do it. I don't care if there's loose ends. Like, just give me a good ending and a story where I feel good at the end. I'm like, okay, we kind of know what happened. Like, if they just left on a cliffhanger and we don't figure out who won, like, that would have sucked. So they gave us what we wanted. I was happy at the end.
There was a clear winner. I didn't know if that would happen. I posted a TikTok where I think that the show, I think it is an inspiration, King Lear, a Shakespearean story, where there is no clear victor, but there was a victor. Tom Wambsgans.
It depends on what you say is winning.
That's true.
If you define winning as head of Waystar Gojo, then yeah, Tom. But who really won? I have someone else.
And that was my first reaction, was like, who was the winner. It is technically Tom, but also he's in a failed marriage. I think they're just together for the power move, and for the kid, their bloodline, which comes up in this episode.
That was so gutty.
That that was one of my first, like, if I had to tell you like the points of the show where I'm like on the edge of my seat and like I had like a visceral reaction, it was like during the vote when Shiv gets up and leaves to go to the other room and everything goes from 0 to 5,000 in 3 seconds. That is one of the most memorable points.
Oh my god.
And we find out, well, I didn't know what he was doing, so I thought that when Kendall was grabbing Roman's face, that he was trying to do a Game of Thrones type.
Yes, I thought that too.
Viper.
I thought he was gonna like gouge his eyes out.
Right, and I'm like, HBO, classic HBO. Pedro Pascal.
He wasn't. I don't know what he was doing. He was like grabbing his face. I was like, is he gonna try like rip apart his stitches or something? And
that's what everyone says.
He's just kind of holding his head in just anger.
That's the most popular thought, is that he was trying to rip his stitches.
I don't blame him. What he just got told, by his brother, that was a deep cut.
Really messed up. Not cool. We'll get to
which
that.
I didn't even know. I didn't know that about his kids. Did you know that?
No, I'm glad they brought it up, because me and my friends who are also brown, we talk about like what are his kids, and who Rava is an Indian name. Like that's an Indian name, and so we're like, is he Indian? Are they Indian? So I guess they're adopted.
Yeah,
which is interesting.
Well, adopted and then half file cabinet boy or whatever he says, which I think is like in vitro. Like
she
maybe
probably
they just
had
got
in
a
vitro.
sperm donor.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't know. It was either that or he's accusing her of having like an affair, and this is like a kid from a different guy.
That's true. We don't know. They've never talked about it, which is interesting that they're
not real kids. Oh.
Yeah. Or what did he say? Oh, I wrote it down.
Not
like
real.
Cards. We'll talk about it later. We'll dive deep into that. But I thought that was messed up.
Bullshit. We're all bullshit.
We're all bullshit. One of my reactions is Tom Wambsgans, you son of a bitch, because I didn't want him to win. I don't know. He's not been a favorite character of mine. I love watching him. I love that actor, Mr. Darcy. But obviously he's a snake.
He's an empty suit.
Yeah, empty suit. And it's funny that TikTok that's gone viral about like the Wambsgan, the baseball player who
unassisted triple play.
Yeah,
excellent video.
Excellent.
Posted at the exact time where you needed to post it to go viral.
And it went viral
Great
for
content.
a good reason. I went back in the account and I'm like, wow, you nailed it. You got it.
Yeah.
Great job.
You want to talk about that theory now or later?
What theory?
That TikTok.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
remember I
Okay.
sent it to
You can bring it up.
you. I sent it to you, and the reason you didn't like it was, you tell people why?
It's not that I didn't like the theory. I just thought that they had already played the Tom beats the kids card in the last season finale in Italy. Like, Tom beat the kids.
Yeah.
That
he already did it.
He already did it. So I was like, are they going to do it again? And he did do it again, but it didn't feel wrong.
It's like 2 seasons in a row where wasn't that the finale?
It was the finale.
He shivs them.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen TikToks where like their names are very purposeful?
Yeah.
Like Shiv. Yeah. The biggest thing, my biggest takeaway is like, I don't understand why Shiv brought up the caterer, the dead kid.
I don't like it.
Yeah, can we talk about that? Because I don't understand why she brought it up. My assumption is that I think she had a gut reaction when they were voting. Of course, she's last. And I think as she's thinking about what to say, she has to leave the room, gather her thoughts. And I think when they leave, she's trying to think of all the ways to get out of it. I think everything just hit her at once. Like, my family's on the line, my bloodline, my kids, her current kid.
I get it. I'm just thinking about, like, writing a script. Like, you didn't bring that up at all this whole season.
She didn't.
It hasn't been a thing.
And that's why I think that was like a gut reaction to just say, to get out of it. That was one that, and if you notice, that was the one thing that got Roman on board to immediately say no. So I do think it was a gut reaction. I don't think she cared otherwise. I think she just brought it up to get out of the vote.
He handled it horribly.
Who? Roman
Kendall.
or Kendall? Yeah.
Handled it horribly. His answers were horrible, and Roman was just like, so it was just a move?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Just a
and
fake
then
memory.
He lost Romulus.
Yeah, that's what it. That he shouldn't have lied. Even if he said the truth, who knows what would have happened?
I just didn't. Yeah, it's like the biggest moment of the entire series, arguably, and you bring up something extremely important that you didn't. They didn't build it up to that point at all.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There was an explanation. I mean, again, my assumption is that she had time to think about it since the Barbados, the vacation. Was that like she came back? I think she was able to talk to Tom, and once she realized it was him, everything changed. And so I think her mind changed. So.
The series as a whole, I guess, gave it enough life. It's just kind of felt like out of nowhere. Like, why are you bringing that up now?
I'd love to hear their explanation.
Why not when we were all siblings just sitting in a kitchen making a meal fit for a king?
Right.
Why don't you bring it up then?
Oh, I love that scene. Who's your favorite? I did want to ask.
Actor? Character?
Character. Yeah.
Favorite character? Best actor? Like, you got to give it to Brian Cox.
Okay.
He's the heart of the show throughout this entire series. He left a big vacuum when he died, and you could see Mattson trying to have him fit that role.
Yeah.
Be that person. It's got to be Brian Cox. Is he my favorite? Probably not, but he's like the best part of this show, probably.
The show wouldn't be called Succession without him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he played it very well.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to give it to Kendall. I think the method acting works, you guys. I think he played it very well.
He's great.
He's a great actor. And
my personal is Greg the Egg.
Greg the Egg?
Love Greg the Egg.
I love that. Actor and character. Yeah. That's true.
And Jerry. Love Jerry.
Oh,
I love them all.
Love them all. Can't get rid of them. Yeah, me too. Even the Frank and the other two board members.
Frank, Carl.
Love them.
Yeah.
Someone equated them to like
Hugo.
The Muppets. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so good. All right, so let's talk about the full episode. We'll break down specific scenes and give our thoughts. So the first one, the episode starts with Shiv talking to Mattson, and she shows him a illustration where Shiv is the puppeteer on top of Mattson, which was surprising to me because they had previously had the analogy where Mattson would be the puppeteer.
He is the puppeteer.
That's what I thought. So that's why I was confused by the illustration. Like, you didn't think that he'd have an issue with that? He's obviously like
Well, what is she supposed to do?
megalomaniac.
She didn't print it. It just someone printed it in a magazine.
Oh, I thought that they were going to print it.
No, that was like in a magazine. It came out.
Oh, that was news to me. I thought she was getting approval of the illustration.
No. I think it was like he was looking through the magazine, came up, she was like, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that? Multiple times people were like, I'm sure that made you mad. And he keeps saying no, but I guarantee it makes him mad.
Sure. Because like this whole time I'm just imagining it's Elon Musk. He 1,000% would be offended by that.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so I had a different interpretation of that. I thought she was asking, is this cool? I thought that was her power move.
And then in the official podcast, they interviewed Skarsgård, and he said the same. Like it probably bugged that character a lot more than he let on.
Yeah, he played that actor very well he played Mattson very well because I believe that he might be an asshole.
Mattson was great.
Who knows? Yeah.
Great acting all around in this show from season 1 till now. Just excellent acting.
I agree. Let's talk about the trip to Barbados.
Which they don't tell you it's Barbados. They just like, we're on an island.
Yeah, I had to Google that. I think they said it was in the Caribbean, but they didn't say where. So they did have an initial fight right when Kendall gets there, where... Also, first off, they flew there very quickly. They rearranged their life to get there very quickly.
Private jets,
billionaires. Gotcha. Can't relate. Understood.
Mm-hmm.
So they had their initial fight about who's going to convince Roman to join whoever's side. And I thought it was interesting, the second fight, where Greg calls them, which, bravo, Greg. You see him learning. Like,
bravo, that's the wrong play.
No, but he didn't know that, but he still climbs the ladder.
Wrong play.
It was the wrong play, but like, do you remember from season 1 to now where he's just like learned how to little finger his way to the top? Chaos is a ladder. Loved it.
Every time he goes against his caretaker in the family, things go wrong for him.
That's true. Tom is the person to stick with, as Shiv knew as well.
When they thought there was a bomb going off and he thought that was the right time to like leave Greg, he gets a water bottle thrown at him. Like,
we got to rewatch that. That was such a funny episode.
Stick with the man who brought you this far.
I thought it was interesting that they mostly kept their composure when they were, after Shiv learns that she's being passed over for the CEO role, that Mattson double-crossed her. She comes back and they all talk about who should then be the CEO if they all join forces. And I thought they kept their composure for the most part, and I know that we'd fist fight.
Oh yeah.
I know that if this was us...
This is like their lives, like the snaking, the backstabbing. This is like throughout all the seasons. There's been bad stuff happening where in real life it wouldn't fly, but they end up being friends. They see each other in the next episode and they act like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Greg backstabs Shiv, and then the next episode they're in the same scene together talking, and he's asking if he could be the wheel on the coffin or something.
The Quad Squad.
Yeah. They do things to each other that are horrible, but at the end they still come back because they realize it's a game and it was a play.
Yeah.
It was a move.
If in our world we worked in a similar industry where we could take over our father's practice, would we fist fight? And who would win?
You're not a doctor, so...
Well, that's why I said same industry. Like, if we all worked in a similar field to be able to take over.
Like if this was real life?
Yeah, if this was real life, and it was me, you, and my sister, who's winning?
This is great for the listeners who don't know us.
Oh well, who's putting someone in a headlock?
I would clearly win.
You are stronger than all of us. So
She's a Shiv in real life, I promise.
I'm not. And
She
you're
is a
Kendall.
Shiv in
Look
real
at his
life.
hat and his shirt. We're gonna take a vote for the podcast listeners.
A vote about my hat?
If you look like Kendall.
Oh, no. Yeah, vote on that.
Yeah.
I'll take it, though. He's not a bad looking dude.
But it's just, never mind. You know what?
Jeremy Strong?
Jeremy Strong. But I think you do dress like him.
You're very Shiv.
Why am I Shiv?
You're so Shiv. Everything about Shiv.
Yeah.
I think it's because I hate Shiv.
And you hate me. Hey, listen to our podcast. All right. Are we going to make a side podcast of just how we hate each other?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, one thing I did not understand. When they're choosing who to be the next CEO, they go back to how Kendall is clearly the winner, the chosen one.
I am the eldest son!
The eldest son. But do you not remember? They brought up a reason why Shiv could not be it. Because Shiv was working with Mattson to obviously make that go through. But my thing is, all previous seasons, Kendall was working against his father publicly.
Yeah.
Very publicly. Working with his father. Working against his father to bring him down. Why would he be credible?
Water
you know what I
under the
mean?
bridge. Water
How?
under the bridge. Doesn't matter what team I was on 3 seasons ago. I know what team I'm on now.
That was like
It's this season.
2 seasons.
I got that from their dad. Previous episodes where people would have like opposing takes on the board against their dad, but the dad would still let people back in.
You think so?
Alliances change over time. Who is good for me now? What side are people on now? And 1 hour ago, you were on the other side. That's too soon.
All right.
Especially when you're trying to convince a board to do something else.
So public takedown of company does not burn that bridge permanently. Everyone take note.
It's not my theory, it's the show.
I know, it's very interesting. I just think I just thought that was wild. Like, why are we attacking Shiv? But I agree. Like, it shouldn't have been her either. Like,
He's the
I just
number
think,
one boy. He's the number one
the
boy.
number one boy. Everyone wants him to win. I do think he's more capable than Roman. I never understood Roman's credentials. Like,
Me neither.
I think he just kind of tells people what to do and isn't nice to servers.
Yeah, no, he was not meant for this. He did get better and better as the series went on. He got more competent, but he's not a real person.
Yeah.
Wait, what does he say?
You're not serious
You're
people.
not serious people. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a serious person.
He's not. Oh, one of the best quotes.
It's bullshit. They're all bullshit.
They're all bullshit.
Yeah.
Through and through. All right. One of my favorite scenes from the show, Meal Fit for a King. I think it was the last time that they were kids. And it was cute. And you almost wish that they stayed there.
Beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Very touching. We needed that.
I think so.
It reminds everyone that they're still family. They love each other no matter what's going on, even though they want to kill each other. And probably now they're probably not going to talk to each other ever again. But
right.
They had their moment. They probably have done Meal Fit for a King when they were kids, and they're like doing it again in their mom's house. And then the scene where they're doing like a virtual dinner with their dad, and they were crying. That was another touching moment. Reminding you that these guys are family. They lost, but did they lose?
You could tell that they were related. Like a lot of times, you're like, how were they in a family? You can tell at those moments that they have similar humor.
It was what I wanted. I don't remember the last touching time they had where they were siblings. Probably in the they were at Shiv's wedding and they went to like smoke weed on the little boat under a bridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ken's trying to take the bear hug. That was season 1.
Season 1 or 2. Yeah. I think so.
I don't remember. Since then, did they have another like touching sibling moment since then?
Italy.
Yeah.
I think that'd be it.
Yeah, but he's like confessing that he killed a kid.
I know, but still, it's like they're hugging, and you don't really see him hug, and especially that season when Kendall was so opposite of what they were doing. One thing I did want to mention was there's a book. I don't know did you read Where the Wild Things Are growing up? I didn't either, Mom and Dad. Why didn't you give us that book?
Who reads books?
I listen. I do listen to books.
Here's another poll. Does that count as reading a book?
Based on science, it does.
Does it count as reading a book? It does not. You listen to a book.
Let's ask the doctors, psychologists. Okay, Maurice Sendak wrote a book. He wrote Where the Wild Things Are and illustrated it, and he also wrote a book called The Night Kitchen. And it's a book about a kid that wakes up and then floats to a night kitchen and jumps in dough. And it's a really sweet book about forgetting your real life stressors and anxieties and escaping. And I think I have to believe that they took that into consideration when creating the Meal Fit for a King episode, because it was at night and they all stopped caring about like the very real stressors in their life, the very real impending doom coming, right? It's like that vote is going to make or break their lives. And so I just think that was a very cute scene where they just were forgetting what was going on.
They draw a lot of motifs, I guess, for the show from literature, poems and stuff. Like the title of every season finale is from this one poem.
Yeah, I meant to read it before we did this, but you know what? Go listen to the Prestige, what is it?
TV podcast.
Go listen to the Prestige TV podcast because they did break down that song for their episode. I did not. Yeah. My bad. But I do. That was so interesting.
Yeah, but they draw a lot from famous writers in the past.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
Which is super interesting that, you know, they're British creators. It's commentary on U.S. media, you know, and I just think it's interesting that they're bringing a lot of like, and I mean Shakespeare is British, European too, so they're bringing a lot of their perspective, and I think that's really interesting. I wonder how it would have gone if like they had a U.S. producer creator. Oh, fun fact, Jeremy Strong actually drank that.
Oh, I heard that interview.
Yeah. Oh, we listened to the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the interviewer was like, so what did you drink actually? Because I know you didn't drink that. There's no way you drank that. And he was like, no, I can't see a world where I wouldn't have drank that, because he gets super into his characters. He actually did it multiple times. They would dump it on his head, and he said we'd go jump in the ocean and come back.
What did it for me was the spit. Oh,
yeah.
Ulti. Ulti means throw up in Gujarati. Oh my god, suck with Ulti.
Yeah, but he's committed.
Yeah.
He's committed.
Moving on, they come back from Barbados, the trip, and they're at their father's old apartment, which is now Connor's apartment, and they're at like an auction.
It's Willa's apartment.
Willa's, yeah, true. Willa's getting rid of everything. Willa's going to choose what's in it. And I just think that when we talk about winners, I think Connor seems pretty happy with Willa. Like, I think they found a middle ground where they are both on the same page about what their relationship is and what they want from it. Like, I think they're both striving for power in a way.
Yeah. It was a sham of a relationship up until that point. Everyone made fun of it. And then they got married and everything seemed like they were hitting a stride. They were together. Mm-hmm. She was defending his political stuff. And then this episode, they're like, yeah, he's going to go to Slovenia or Slovakia or whatever, and I'm going to stay here and have a cow-themed couch in this room.
Yeah.
Like, and then Roman says, oh, you got the 2-week itch. Like, I thought the marriage was going really well for them, and now they're just going to do long distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe the marriage made it like stick for a little while, and now they're going back to normal.
Who knows? That also him going to Europe is all based on Mencken actually becoming president. And as we know from real U.S. elections, that you don't get the count of the mail-in votes till like weeks after.
Yeah.
So I think they're still in like the
thing in
post.
Wisconsin that they subtly hint at every now and then.
Yeah.
That there's like some lawsuit going on. I don't know.
I think that's like looming. We'll never know that like everything in regards to that election could be.
I'm happy they leave it in the ether.
Yeah.
They do a lot of things where they just kind of like, oh, someone walks in the background and you're just kind of supposed to know that that's part of the storyline ending. Like they just leave little crumbs every now and then. So I like it. I like they didn't go super deep into that. Just one line here and there. Something's happening in Wisconsin. That's all we need to know.
Who knows? And I'm kind of glad too, because if they went too deep into it, that'd feel like too much like real life. And I'm trying to move away from that type of content. All right, so moving on from that, we get to the pre-vote where we see the rest of the board and they're in the actual office. And I missed what Shiv said to Carolina. I didn't get to do a rewatch. What did Shiv say to Carolina? Do you remember?
I remember Carolina said to Shiv, she was like happy that they're taking over, the kids are, and there's not going to be as much backstabbing or bickering. And then the first thing she does is like, can we backstab and kill Hugo?
Can we kill Hugo?
Yeah. Make sure Hugo's not around in the future. Like, nothing changes.
Wow. Okay. I wonder why. I'm so curious because we never hear about like how those group board members just don't like each other.
Yeah. I forget. I don't know. And then afterwards, when Hugo goes up to Tom, his only response was, "Where's Carolina?"
Yes, I thought that was interesting. Do you have a guess as to why Tom wanted to see Jerry and Carolina first?
No, I don't remember. I'm sure there's the listeners can tell us. I don't remember.
I think
I'm
it's based
assuming
off
that they
that
were on the
list.
same side in part
Yeah.
of this break off. They were on the same side.
For sure.
They picked sides and
The guys and it was clear Hugo chose Kendall. Like it was
Yeah.
very clear that they had chosen sides, and on the list, the list
Mhm.
of people who are getting fired or gonna stay. I know that the women stayed on, so I think that's why probably he was like Tom was finding his allies right away. Do you see right away everyone was like sucking up to him?
yeah, that's what you do.
Very interesting. I think it's so funny, and I've never brought this up to anyone. Do you think that Stewie is like Jason Mantzoukas from The League,
No,
the wild card? Oh, I think he acts so similarly.
I love Stewie.
I do too.
I love him so much.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
That actor's actually been in a lot of things since then.
I don't know. That's all he is to me now. If I ever
Just
see him
Stewie.
again.
Yeah, the way he dresses, for sure.
But that character in The League is so crazy.
Mhm.
Off the walls, wild shit, doing crazy stuff.
He acts that way in like everything he's
Maybe it's
in.
mannerisms.
I think the mannerisms, yeah. And the way he talks, I think it's the voice. The voice is so similar. So when Kendall and
Team Ken, baby.
Team Ken, I was Team Shiv the whole time, but
Nobody likes Shiv.
when Roman and Kendall were in the room about to go to the vote, I thought it was. I don't know if you noticed, but slowly, especially after the funeral, Roman's been opening up. And so, like, he cried near the bar cart, and I just thought that was...
It's like he's got an open wound.
His...
a little on the nose.
Hey. So there were some people speculating that when he was crying and Roman came to hug him, that Kendall was trying to open the scars. Do you think that's real?
I didn't get that when I was watching it, but since then I've seen enough takes, and then I think Jeremy Strong's interview, he said something to that, where, like, through their whole childhood, there was no unconditional love. Love came with pain. I don't know. That scene I didn't get when I was watching. I need to rewatch it.
Same.
He was like, but I look too good for them to realize, or for them to just accept that it's not me. Why isn't it me? So Ken ripped it open to kind of show him.
Yeah, and I mean, even deeper than that, like, Roman still loved his dad, even though his dad used to physically assault him. So I think, like, in that way, Kendall saw that he could manipulate Roman through this
So fucked up.
this type of love, which is so messed up. It's so messed up.
And even when after the embrace, he was like, "Oh, I love you. I fucking hate you."
I
Like,
fucking hate you. Yeah.
oh, that's so bad.
But yeah, anyways, I brought up that because I do think that's when you first start to see that Roman is on the fence. That's how I thought that it was going to be an interesting book, because he's like, why isn't it me?
And it all started with him seeing Jerry.
Yeah.
He saw Jerry, and then you lost Roman.
Yeah.
Ever since then, he was gone. Why isn't it me? Started crying, looked at his face. Why couldn't it be me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and everything after that point, he was gone.
I think that's when it started. I'm not sure when it started for Shiv, but we have theories on that.
Yeah, and then you also see Kendall become more and more like his father.
Yes.
Treating Roman how his father would have treated him in that moment.
The poison drips through.
Yeah. Lost his family, lost loved ones.
Lost everything.
Pursuing this one dream, this one hyper-focused thing of being the CEO. He became his dad.
Yeah.
And in the end, he's just everything about his dad except the success.
Yeah.
Just the bad parts.
Just the bad parts. That's all that's left. So let's move on to the actual vote. As if you've seen it, you saw that Shiv's the last one to vote. And that disrupts everything because she has to leave the room, which I don't know is real. I don't think in board meetings you can just... This is my assumption. I've never been on a board like this for like a very large company. But I assume you can't just leave because then you can be swayed if you leave the room. I would have to assume that you have to be in the room. I assume that's in like the bylaws.
But in all these board meetings, they don't pay attention to the rules.
I think the TV show obviously is taking
like
its own liberties.
season 1 when Ken... I forget, it was one of the earlier seasons when Ken is trying to get everyone to come with him. And Brian Cox is in the room when they're voting, and they're like, you can't
do that because you could
I don't give
sway.
a fuck.
And he did sway people's votes.
Fuck off!
They don't care. Yeah, so that's why I was like, whoa, this is wild. But I'm glad that I didn't know what was going to happen. I honestly thought she would say yes. What did you think? Or no, sorry. I honestly thought she would say no to side with Kendall and Roman. What'd you think?
No. They cut to her when they walk into the boardroom. It was just a weird cut. They cut to her and you're like, something's about to go down. It wasn't just going to happen cleanly. They weren't just going to give it to him and that's how the show ends. I don't know. I thought it was going to be Roman, but you've seen Roman not swing for Ken in a board vote before. I think it was fitting that it came down to her.
Interesting. I thought that she was going to side with Roman and Kendall saying no, and then something would come out about like Matsson's company, obviously the India non-users, and that would just take down the entire company.
Neil Fit for a King was just such a happy high note, and that was like, whatever, there's like 15 minutes left, you're like, oh no, this happened too soon. Something bad's gonna happen.
You just knew based off watching all these TV shows that we watched. So again, like I mentioned earlier, it went to 0 to 5,000 in 3 seconds. They went in that room, they started literally fighting. I thought that was like, wow, good. This is actually makes a lot of sense. Like it's the last thing to get to the finish line. They're willing to do anything. It's very clear that, Shiv's willing to bring up the dead kid, and Roman's willing to bring up the bloodline of Kendall's kids. Like, it all just fell apart so quickly. I just think that all of their gut reactions were coming out before they could hide. And I mentioned this before I posted a TikTok about Succession, that these characters are typically very good about like hiding what they're thinking. Maybe besides Roman I think always says what he's thinking. And in this moment, when it comes down to it, the future of the company, they're being very real and honest.
Just don't think you would be good at it, is what she says.
Yeah.
Where was this yesterday?
She hasn't said this before. That's what I'm saying, is that they're very good at hiding and masking. And I think in the back of her mind, she's trying to envision a future where she benefits from Kendall, and when she benefits from Tom, and obviously the Tom route, Matsson route wins for her.
She's like breaking the wheel, like Daenerys wanted to. She's breaking the wheel, not letting her brother become her father. But at what cost?
At what cost? Yeah.
Which, at the end of the day, they're all billionaires. They just made $2 billion each, or whatever. They're all fine.
I think more than that.
Us caring for these people is ridiculous. Like, they're all fine.
I do care that, like, they're broken children. Like, because obviously you can blame the parents. Carolina, or not, sorry. I think their mom's name is Caroline. Terrible parents.
Lady Caroline.
Do feel bad for that, but yeah, they turn into terrible monsters.
That scene, oh my gosh. That might have been the best scene in the entire show.
Yeah.
Everything built up to that point in that room. All of their character development leads to that room at that point.
That's very true.
And it just melts down. You see Ken go from him making an argument for himself the day before, like, my LA, my public profile, whatever, like, it's me, it's gotta be me, you can ask anyone. He's making more logical arguments for himself. He got his siblings to agree to be him. Now, he's confronted and he just melts down. He just, like, goes back to baby Ken. He's like, I'm the eldest boy, or what? I'm the eldest boy.
Yeah, where's Connor?
And he keeps saying, like, yeah. And then Ken just keeps making, like, this bad argument of, like, I need to do this. It's got to be me. Like, his arguments are just horrible at that point. He's just breaking down.
Yeah.
He's not that leader anymore. He's not a killer.
Lying about his, fake memory.
Nothing is off board. Nothing is off limits for him.
Yeah.
In that moment, they saw him for what he is. This little snake. Little rat, he'd do anything for this.
That's what they saw, yeah. And they saw that he would do it to them, which he would. If you remember, like, all throughout this season, they've been showing Kendall on the side talking to Hugo about how it would actually be Kendall at the end of it. And Roman didn't know this, but he always knew it would be him. He didn't care who he'd take down to get there.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. And then Roman was just out. Once he was already leaning out, but then once he found out that, the whole thing about the dead kid was a play, and then you told me it was real, and it wasn't real, and then you didn't get in the car. It was just too much, and they were like, "What are you doing, bro?"
It's over from there.
And then he's done.
One thing I did want to mention is that I don't think Shiv viewed who won based off teams, like us versus Matsson and Tom. I think she viewed it as what's best for me. I don't think she cared that these are my brothers, this is my husband. I think she viewed it as, what am I getting out of this? And when she saw Kendall winning, she didn't see a future where she could potentially win too. Because she always saw that her brothers put her last, or like didn't even give her part of the crown. If Tom wins, when she learned that after Barbados, she saw a future where she could still influence decisions.
I think an important scene and another point where it turned is when they saw him sit in their dad's chair and he put his feet up.
Oh, yes.
And then it just clicked for both of them, like, this doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel right.
It's not him.
So let's talk about the everything's bullshit. What do you think that means? What do you think he was trying to convey?
We're all bullshit. Everything's bullshit. It's I forget what he says. It's like shells held together with glue. Like, I think he's just realizing that they're not real people. They're not serious people.
They're not serious people.
They're not the ones that are going to take this on.
Yeah.
ATN, like, it's all just pieces and parts, and they're not the ones to take it. I think he's realizing what we all realize this whole time. What everyone in their lives realized. He's out. Which is why at the end, he's sitting there smiling, drinking a martini. I think he is at peace. He's out.
I love that. The scene where I think he's free. If anyone won again, I think it's like him and Connor. I think like finally Roman's free.
Yeah. That's why I think the winner of this episode would probably be Roman.
Yeah.
Got that big paycheck.
Yeah.
And he's out and happy.
They're building up all of his, like, he didn't grieve. He didn't pre-grieve. That's not a real thing. Everyone, you gotta grieve. And when he finally did grieve at the funeral, I think that all just released, and he's like, this doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's all bullshit. We're bullshit.
Yeah.
I love that. He's drinking a martini, which is Jerry's drink, by the way, and also his dad's, I think, as well. It's probably more so his dad's that's referencing, but I do think he still has feelings for Jerry. And then, lastly, the last two things, I do want to talk about the handhold and also Kendall at the end. So the handhold was, again, like, did they win because they don't seem to be in a happy marriage?
Is it a handhold?
It's not.
It's a hand touch. My hand is open and yours is resting there, which I think they're working their way towards a happy marriage.
Yeah.
Their schedules are aligned now, and she likes that. Like, they're working their way towards it. It kind of worked out for her in the end, but they just said some of the meanest shit you could say to anyone to each other, like a day before, 2 days before. Like,
she did want to keep the relationship together. Remember at the beginning of the episode when she's getting on the plane to go down to the Caribbean, she was calling him and saying, like, do you want to get back together? He said, I'll think about it, right? Or I don't know.
Yeah, she asked if he's ready for a relationship. He said, I don't know.
Do you think she had an ulterior motive doing that? Or do you think she actually wanted a relationship?
I don't know. I don't think we know.
It's hard to tell.
She was waffling on the divorce. They were talking about a divorce. He said, let's make it, what did he say? He said, let's make it like something. Just make it clean. A clean divorce. She was like, what if we don't? What if you're in a relationship with your husband?
And they have a kid.
Yeah. That's when she mentions how, like, she would like that their schedules would be easier or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck Shiv. I hate her.
All right.
Everything about her. She's the worst.
Yeah, she is
Worst character.
a little backstabby. So, lastly, Kendall, we see him by the water, and I'm sure we listen to the same podcast. So, like, water is like a theme throughout his life. It's either like a freeing thing, like he's by water if he's free, or he's by water if he's had like just like a huge meltdown. Yeah. So, I mean, I thought that he would unalive himself. I mean, he said he had nothing left, so that was, what do you think was happening when he was sitting by the water?
Oh, yeah. I thought he was going to kill himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought they would take him up to the top of the building, like how from the previous seasons, his dad put up bigger barriers so he wouldn't jump off the top of the building.
Yeah.
I think Bill brought this up, how when we went to the elevator, like he was going to hit up. Hit down. Yeah. And then he's got the specter of Colin following him everywhere.
Yeah.
Like a reminder of the death of the kid.
So those were our thoughts on the episode. Anything else that you want to bring up from the show as a whole or the finale?
Oh, great finale. Nothing in particular. Just, it was really funny at the end when Roman didn't want to be in the same room as Mattson signing the thing. And then he goes, it's like Jesus. He said he was like Jesus, and there's Judas over there.
There's Judas,
Greg,
yeah.
And they all laughed at him.
And Greg's just laughing.
That was a funny scene.
Yeah, great finale. I had a good time watching the show. I think it was a good finale. I know people are like, there's some people who didn't think it was great. By the way...
Who? You're wrong. Whoever you are, you're wrong.
Change your opinion.
That was a great episode. I need to rewatch it like 8 more times. There's probably so much more I missed.
I do think that... So it's so funny. Like 3 shows ended this weekend. Barry, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Succession. And with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, they had a great finale. Yeah, you all should check that out. Honestly, I think it was a better finale than Succession, but both great still. Last thing I do want to talk about, I do want to compare the characters from Succession to Game of Thrones characters. So we're going to go down, say who we think they are, and then we'll close it out.
Oh, this is hard.
I know. We're going to start with Tom.
Who is Tom?
Yeah. Because he's not Bran.
I think
his Littlefinger.
He ends on top, but he's not Bran.
He's Littlefinger. Littlefinger ends up dying, but Littlefinger...
If Littlefinger didn't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who was the guy with the little birds?
Varys?
Was he Varys or Littlefinger, do you think?
Littlefinger.
Yeah.
Pizza, please. Baelish. Peter Baelish.
Peter Baelish. Greg. I'm trying to. I don't even remember.
Not really part of the family, making his way up the ranks. Is he Jon Snow?
Is he Jon Snow? I just thought this at the same time. Greg is Jon Snow. And that may make Greg Daenerys. Who knows?
Wait, you said Greg's Jon Snow and now Greg's Daenerys?
Or sorry, that may make Tom Daenerys and
boy.
Greg Jon Snow. You know?
Oh,
My queen.
That's tough. I don't know.
Who knows? Okay, Shiv.
Who cares?
Who cares? I think she's Cersei.
Yes.
Yeah, she'd be Cersei.
She's Cersei.
I think so.
But without the wit and power and cunning.
I think she's witty. I think she's very smart. I just think that she's not a good person. So, Kendall. Stark.
Robb Stark.
Robb Stark.
Yeah.
Right?
Robb Stark. King of the North.
Robb had redeeming qualities. I don't think Kendall's like a great person, but people rooted for him.
He's the eldest boy.
He was the eldest boy.
He's the number one boy.
Yeah. All right, Roman.
Ooh.
Not Peter Dinklage.
No. Who the fuck is Roman? The guy who cut the other guy's wiener off. Cut Theon's wiener off. Or he's Theon.
Theon or... Oh, what's his name?
Oh, he's like broken Theon in some parts of this season.
Yeah. Oh my god, we gotta Google. Shoot, our phones are right there. Who's that guy? Not Bolton.
Ramsay Bolton?
Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we think that Roman is Ramsay Bolton? They have like messed up humor.
He's like Theon and Ramsay put together.
Yeah. Theon and Ramsay put
times.
together. Oof. Anyone else? Yeah, that's just disgusting.
What's Theon's real name? Alfie something?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Alfie, like the actor?
Yeah.
Alfie something. Yeah.
Okay.
What about it?
I saw him in real life once.
I knew you'd bring that up. Yeah.
Saw him in real life.
And yeah.
It was on the street in Manhattan and I yelled, Theon! Or no, I yelled Reek. I yelled Reek at him and he flipped me off.
And what'd you do with your hands?
What did I do?
What'd you do?
No, he flipped me off.
Didn't you?
Oh, no.
No? You didn't?
That's a better story, though. Yeah, I did that.
Okay, Connor. Connor, who do we think Connor is? Oh, you know who Connor is? Is the Stark uncle who at the end thinks he's gonna get it. Do you remember? At the end, he stands up as if he's going to
I don't think he's a
be
Stark.
nominated.
Wait, is he a Stark?
He's a Stark because he's the wife, the Stark, Ned's wife's brother.
Lady
So he's-
Catelyn.
Catelyn's brother. Do you remember during that scene when they were trying to shoot the arrow?
Yeah.
He was the one who shot the arrow and
I don't
couldn't
remember
land
his
it.
name.
Yeah, but I think it's him where he thinks he's gonna win it, but has no chance. Everyone
No.
laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, Connor would be someone else who's just like on the sidelines, just coasting.
Just happy on their own.
Happy on their own,
Little
doesn't
side
matter. Yeah.
Just living their own lives.
Yeah.
Who would that be? Arya, kinda. Spent most of the series just on her own, off doing her own thing.
That's very generous of you to compare him to Arya.
Storylines are similar. Not even similar, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They have similarities.
I see where you're going. Last one, Logan Roy. Big boss.
Ned Stark. If you
That's
suck.
true.
The Night King.
Probably Ned because it starts the succession. Yeah, it just happened later in the season for Succession, so that's it. Who would Arya be? I want there to be an Arya, but I don't think there's anyone.
Greg.
You know, someone who's very talented and gets to the top, like Jerry. Jerry would be Arya. You know.
Yeah.
What would we talk about if we talked about something in another episode?
How much we hate shit.
How much we hate shit. Is there another show that we watched? So I've never seen The Wire or Sopranos.
Me neither, but people keep comparing them as like,
Yeah.
is this the
The
best
best
TV show of
TV
all time?
shows.
Yada yada. I don't know. I
Should
missed
we?
it.
I wonder if we should watch one of those and then talk about it together.
Yeah.
I love horror, and I'm trying to find a friend to talk about horror with, which I have a couple friends who I could, so you're not one of those people, so. All right.
We can talk whiskey.
We could talk whiskey. That's it for our episode. Thank you so much for listening. We are the Fangirl Feels podcast, and today again we collaborated with...
Shree, 2 ounce whiskey. Follow me.
Where can we follow you?
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere.
We'll put the links in the doobly-doo. My name's Tanya. We typically have Olivia, so check out our other videos to see all the other things we talk about. You can follow us at Fangirl Feels Pod on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. We have some videos on Olivia's account, BVIVAA, but we just got the domain name for the Fangirl Feels YouTube page. So it's Fangirl Feels Pod. You're either watching it here or you're not. Who knows? So follow us all in all the places. Keep listening and let us know what you want to hear about next.
Disgusting Brothers! Disgusting Brothers spinoff. That's what I want.
That's what we're doing. Yeah, that's going to be our podcast.
Yes. Disgusting Brothers!
All right, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Like at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh.
Bye.